So now we are actually going to create these beautiful effects that our eyes detected, all the details that we see in this tooth structure. Okay, things we need: the awesome tint kit from Cosmodent. We need a bonding agent and a fine tip brush. If you feel that the tip is too much or too thick, then you could actually give a brush a little haircut. So usually I would chop off some bristles here and literally give a bristle little haircut, because I want this as fine as possible. So I don't want this getting into my composite, so I'm gonna do it away from the screen here. So I'm just cutting off some bristles here with the blade so I can make it a little bit finer. There. So a little more like that. I'll show you here in a minute. That's it. So basically what I've done is use this number 11 blade at the head of that metal and just kind of rotate it, and then just chop off some hairs. Before we do it, we want to apply bonding agent on the surface of composite just to wet the surface. It's easier to paint on wetter surface. So we're going to apply the bonding agent just all over again. And blow this very thin, okay? We don't want it full. And you could cure at this stage. You don't have to cure, but I would go ahead and cure. And now you're ready to rock and roll. The first thing we want to do is wet the tip of the brush with bonding agent. And then there's no right sequence, but you want to visualize or have in your mind as you do this which stain or effect is at the bottom, and you want to try to replicate that same, because tints do have layers when you start stacking them. So the first thing I usually do is correcting the color, the base shade slightly. So you could use whatever color you like. In this case, let's use this light brown tint to create the gingival worm. So just pick some up here and let's lay it on a little palette there. And you could thin this or mix and match however you like it. So on this gingival worm, I'm just gonna glob quite a bit on this here. I know there's some, so when you're doing this, and Cosmodent has given another brush here, right? So on a big surface, I wanna do a little bit more efficiently. So do you see the color turning the value going down? So I'm gonna apply some more. We've been taught if you see stain, you put too much, but with this technique, you wanna see the color, you wanna see the tints. So I don't want it so light. It's completely opposite of what you may have been taught. So you see the effects there? So again, it's nice to have this photo next to you. So once you've done that, I'm gonna zap that, lock it in. And towards the gingiva, I see a little bit more darker value. So I'm gonna pick up even darker tint here. This is dark brown. And I'm going to thin that with some bonding agent. And I'm going to pick up this fine tip bristle brush. And I'm just going to dab it on here. You may think that's a little too much, but just wait. So that's what I've done, just dab that on. And then you're going to use the brush to blend them in. Again, I'm using just the resin to blend this in. So all of a sudden, this thing will focus for me. So I'm just blending in and creating more darker line there. Okay. Once I've done that, I'm going to create incisal translucency. So I like that better. Usually the middle part, the body of the tooth, is most opaque or brightest. So I'm not going to go too far. But on this particular tooth, we have band or zone that goes down quite a bit on mesial aspect. So I'm going to apply some tint there. There. A little lint. Got that taken care of. So we're going to zap that, lock it. And then that's what it looks like. So we've toned down that bright base color. For incisal translucency, you could use multiple different colors or tints. We see some very dark area that feathers towards gingival portion to the medial portion of the tooth structure. So we're going to try to replicate all those different intensities of translucency. So let's see what we have. You could use gray, violet. I'm going to use both. Let's pick this up a little bit. We're going to use a little bit of gray. And let's pick up violet. You guys doing all right? Hope you guys are having fun, because I am. And again, you could mix and match the colors, right? So I'm using back of the toothbrush, not a brush, and I'm just blending in. And so if I look at the tooth here, and if you need to intensify more, then you could apply, cure, continue to do that until you have right intensity. So I see some very intense areas. So I'm just dabbing it on there. You see it? I just dabbed them on, and it kind of peaks towards proximal areas. And medially. So once you have dabbed that on, then we're going to feather it to the direction that it is diffusing. So it's going towards the gingival portion. So I'm just stroking that. You don't want to see globs, right? Unless that's exactly what you want to try to create. So I'm just feathering that in. Going towards gingiva, incisally. Whew, that's looking very nice. So you see how that starts to blend in, and I'm going to pull that down a little bit towards gingiva. Make sure we're creating similar effect. So that is pretty light. I know you're probably feeling a little scary because you're seeing so much color there, but that's exactly what we want in this technique. You see that? Yeah. So let's lock it in. Do it away from the supply I have. And I want to create a little bit more effects with translucency. If I look at the picture, there's some really dark zones. Uh, on the distal, it fuses a little bit more towards the body of the tooth, so I'm going to add more of this tint here. So you basically, once you have all the information of what you're trying to create, if you could see it, uh, then we're just replicating by just painting it on, painting, as simple as that. So I've darkened that distal aspect a little bit, lower the value. Let's lock it in. Zap it with light. And then if I look at this photo, we have really intense gray areas, right? You see that? Like we have like this band here and just a little bit in this area. So we're going to replicate that. And for this one, I'm going to use straight gray because it has more chroma intensity. So here's my tooth. So I'm going to pick that up. And let's see where I need to put that. So towards like here, here, here. I'm just dabbing it on. I'm not concerned about making it look right. I just want the material to be on the spot where I want that effect. So that's that. And then you want to just feather that. That's obviously too intense, so we want to just feather that. And sometimes wetting this brush makes it go a little bit easier. So feather, I just want a few eyelets of intense low value spots. So that is kind of what I want to see. So there it is. So you guys see that? Right there. So that sort of mimics what we see on the photograph. Right? So lock that baby in by curing. And the next thing we want to create is the dental lobes. Area that is a bit warmer but has more, I would say more value. It's more pale yellow. So what do we need for that? So we actually have white opaque. So we're gonna mix this color. We don't need too much of this opaquer. So we're gonna get a little dab of that here. And let's pick up dark brown, that color we used. Let's see, where's the dark brown? Again, you could use light brown if you like. There's no right and wrong. As you fine tune your eyes, you could get more refined in color or tint selection. So make sure these are not cured. Yeah, it's still wet. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of opaque and then blend it in here. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of light yellow and then mix it here. And let's see if the color is getting close to what we want. I feel like it needs a little bit more opaquer. Yeah, that's more like it. So I'm going to use that to create the dental lobe. So I see one towards mesial body. So I'm going to dab that on there. You see that? And then here's another one right in the center. And then very light one towards the distal. And it is kind of meeting that translucent halo. So once you've globbed on the tints, again, you're going to blend it in by feathering. You're going to go towards the gingival. You're going to go towards incisal. And we have created dental lobes very easily. There. You guys can see that there. I need to upgrade my camera. It has a hard time focusing. There it is. You see the, maybe I should intensify the middle part a little bit more. You could decide to cure and add if you like, but I'm gonna do it. That's better. I can see a little bit more. So we have 1, 2, and very faint distal, right? So let's lock that baby in. So that's it. And then last thing I like to do is the white areas, super white. And where do super whites live? Incisal halo and body. So let's get the white here, opaque. This opaque white. I love this here. This is my favorite part. Super easy, very cool effect. So incisal halo, just pick up the white opaque here. And you're just going to dab right on the incisal edges. So it looks something like, you're just gonna dab it on. See, I just dropped some white. And then you're just gonna connect these dots, okay? So if you could just watch. I don't know why I hold my breath when I do this. Breathe. So you just connect these. And you could add white and brown or any kind of shade of yellow if you like to create warmer incisal halo. If you guys can see this. Yep. That's how I like it there. So our tooth has actually a little warmer incisal halo. So let me do this over. But you can see the effects there. So I'm gonna erase this. And that's really easy, just rub that off. So again, when I look at that photo, it has a little bit warmer incisal halo. So let's add a little bit of light brown to that. So here's light brown. And we're going to mix these two together. That's more of the color we're trying to replicate. So let's repeat. So pick this up. And then we're just going to let you guys see this. I'm just going to dab this on. A little more. Bit more. I like incisal halos. They make them look so pretty. So you see how I dabbed on the incisal halo, a little warmer tone. And I'm going to blend them in by just connecting these dots. That's it. I've got the incisal halo I like. And then just for fun, I want to add just a little bit more, just straight white here, just one spot. Right here. Just because. So we stand out from crowd. Okay, that's it. So let's lock that in. So I'm pretty much done creating all the layers or effects that I want to create. Now, if you at this stage want to create any special effect or craze line, you could do so by creating a little channel. Actually, let me do this real quick so you guys can see it. So this is not part of the character of the tooth, but let's say you want to create a ever so faint craze line. So let's do one like right here. So I'm using fine tip, fine diamond, and I'm just creating a little channel. And if you want to create a little wiggly line, you can. But I'm just creating one here. And then I'm gonna blow that dry, water. And you don't necessarily have to add a bonding agent at this stage. So you see how I created a little channel there. And then you pick up, depending on your preference, say let's say we have a really dark craze line. So we're going to use dark brown. Let me just pick that up a little bit. And we're just going to paint that line ever so carefully. And because we created a channel, it should stay where we cut it. Just like that. And then I smudged a little bit more, so I'm just going to wipe it with my finger. And so you guys see this line that's going up? So that's how you create craze line. And if you want that to pop even more, then what you do is you put a contrasting color, like white, just right next to it. So when you contrast two shades, then it pops out a little bit more. So like right next to it. I don't know if you can see it. Do you see a little white right next to that brown? So that will make it stand out a little more. Okay. Yeah, you see it right there. So let's lock that. And the last thing is we want to do on the very outer surface is those white spots. So we're gonna use white opaque and paint it over. So for this, since it's such a broad area, we're gonna use this big brush. So we're gonna pick up white opaque we have here that we use to mix. Oh, that's cured. So let's pick up some more. Before the light, ambient light cures that. So we're gonna pick up quite a bit. So towards the middle part of the tooth, we have lighter area. So let's see if it'll focus. So we're gonna put a spot here. I know that's a lot, right? But that's okay because you're gonna blend it in, and we have some white spots here. And you could kind of fray out like this here, and you could also give it a haircut with scissor and kind of create little notches to create striation effect. So since it's going horizontally, the striation is going horizontally, I'm going to stroke it horizontally. Come on, camera. Yep, there it is. So I'm just going to stroke it. And if you feel like you have too much, then wipe the brush and then remove some more as your heart desires. So I'm happy with that white kind of middle part of the tooth being a little whiter. Yep, that's all the effects, okay? And if you want any more, feel free to add more. So let's cure this. And we are ready for final layer. So this is let you guys see this before we move on. So that's what it looks like. So we're seeing all the colors. We want to see the colors. At this stage, I would